Welcome to our Everlast Tech Support channel. Today we'll be showing you how to replace the current sensor in your TIG welder. If your current sensor is mounted on a copper bar across the front of the unit, you'll need to start by removing this 10mm bolt from the copper bar. So that copper bar is able to provide a little bit of flex so you can remove the screw that is mounting the current sensor to that bar through the front grille of the machine. If you are not able to remove the screw through the front grille, you'll need to remove the front plastic bezel. When you have the current sensor out of the machine, you're going to use a small screwdriver to break the seal on the red paste between the connector. When installing your new sensor, you'll need to place the fiber plate inside the sensor, then install the Phillips screw halfway so that it will hold the fiber plate in place while you slide the sensor down the copper bar. Then retighten the Phillips screw. Now I can plug the control wire back into the sensor and reattach the copper bar with a 10mm bolt. Please double check the arrow on the sensor is facing the correct direction that you noted before the sensor was removed. If your unit has the current sensor mounted to a copper bar on the side of the machine, you will start by removing this 10mm bolt in the middle of this copper bar. Then you will loosen or remove the 10mm bolt at the other end of this copper bar on the AC inverter board. Now we can remove the Phillips screw that mounts the current sensor to the copper bar. Lastly, we'll disconnect the electrical connection to the sensor. You'll need to use a small screwdriver to scrape between the connector and the sensor mount to remove the red paste to easily unplug the connection. Now we can install the new sensor. We'll slide the fiber board between the sensor and the copper plate and install the Phillips mounting screw. Please double check the arrow on the sensor is facing the correct direction that you noted before the sensor was removed. After you have the sensor remounted, we'll reconnect the electrical connection to the sensor and reinstall the 10mm bolts and tighten them down. If your TIG welder has the Infineon secondary IGBT, we'll start by removing the clear plastic shield. Then you'll need to loosen or remove these 3 10mm bolts. followed by removing this 10mm bolt at the end of the copper bar. Before lifting the circuit board, we'll need to disconnect the control wires to the current sensor. Then you can flip the board over and remove the 10mm bolt holding on this copper bar. Before removing the Phillips screw that mounts this sensor to the copper bar, please make note of the direction that the arrow is facing on the sensor, and ensure when you install your new sensor, the arrow is facing the same direction. Be sure to install the fiber plate between the sensor and the copper bar. Now we can reinstall the copper bar to the circuit board and tighten and reinstall the rest of the 10mm bolts. Now we can reconnect the control wire to the current sensor and zip tie the plastic shield back into place. Thank you for working with us today. We hope that this video has helped you to replace the current sensor in your TIG welder.